Hi everybody and welcome to Mike's Hidden Histories. Today I'm in the town of Athy in County Kildare in the east of Ireland to tell you about one of the greatest Antarctic explorers of all time, and he was an Irishman, and his name is Ernest Shackleton, and this is a statue here of Ernest Shackleton in the town square. Now, he was born not far from here in a place called Kilkee, about 6 or 7 kilometres south of the town here, in 1874. His father, Henry, was a farmer at that time, farming with his wife, Henrietta. They went on to have 10 children. Ernst was the second of the 10 children. The Shackletons were of Anglo-Irish stock, and in fact were Quakers. One of Ernst's ancestors in 1726 came to Ireland and opened a school in Ballytour. Now in 1880, Henry Shackleton moved his family to Dublin because he wanted now to study medicine. And he stayed there for 4 years, attending Trinity College. And at that stage, Henry moved his family, including Ernst, to London, to South London. Ernst then attended Dulwich College. He didn't like school. He was very bored there. He was more interested in reading about the great explorers of his time. And this was the age of the great Antarctic exploration. At the age of 16, in 1890, he joins the Merchant Navy as an apprentice before the mast. In 1894, we find he's a second mate, and 1896, he's a first mate, but he also qualifies as a master mariner. Now, his interest in Antarctic exploration leads him to join the Robert Scott's Discovery Expedition to Antarctica, which was between 1901 and 1904. He was a third officer on that ship, and there was another man on that ship, and his name was Tom Crean, and they got to know each other, and we'll find both of them will later in this story will surface again in another expedition. Now, on this expedition, Robert Scott, his intention, of course, was to try and get to the South Pole. He got as far as 82 degrees south latitude, and that was Shackleton was with him and a man called Wilson. The three of them reached that distance southwards, and that was a new record for the time. Now, this really whetted the appetite of Shackleton, so he succeeded in getting his own ship, and in 1907, he now is ready to go back to Antarctica. His purpose is also to reach the South Pole, so he sets off in 1907, gets to Antarctica, and he goes as far as 88 degrees south latitude. He did achieve a huge amount at that time. As I said, he got to 88 south latitude. He and some of his colleagues were the first to climb Mount Erebus in Antarctica. He discovered the location of the magnetic South Pole, and he also discovered a new route to the South Pole. So he was determined to get there. So he arrives back in England and tries to prepare for a return visit to eventually get to the South Pole, but in fact he's beaten. In 1911, December 1911, Roald Amundsen is the first person to reach the South Pole in December of that year. Shackleton is determined now to set a new challenge. The challenge of reaching the South Pole is gone, so now he wants to go to Antarctica, to cross Antarctica from one side to the other. He gets a new ship, the Endurance, and with a crew of 28 who were handpicked. And in fact, he picks 3 other Irishmen. So there was 4 Irishmen in that crew. There was Shackleton himself, there was Tom Crean from Ownaskal in County Kerry, there was Tim McCarthy from Youghal in County Cork, and there was James McElroy from Ballyclare in County Antrim. So they set sail in August 1914 from Plymouth, a few days after the start of World War I. And we find on the 5th of December they have been in Stromness for a few weeks. That's a whaling station on South Georgia. And from there, they set off there on the 5th of December to go to the Antarctic, to get to Antarctica, the continent of Antarctica. They don't get there, in fact, because what happens is on the 15th of January 1915, the ship becomes stuck in the ice. It cannot move. By the 24th of October, the ship begins to take water. The orders given to abandon ship. On the 21st of November 1950, the Endurance sinks to the bottom of the ocean. So anyway, the crew are there for a number of months on the ice, but then it begins to disintegrate. And in April, Shackleton gives the order to get into the lifeboats. They have to abandon the ice floe. They were never going to be found there. And they begin an epic journey, a 5-day journey across to Elephant Island. Now this is, when they arrive there, it's the first time that any of them have set foot on terra firma, on ground, for 497 days. They're there for a number of weeks, for a period of time, and Shackleton now comes to the conclusion they're never going to be found because it's too far from the shipping lanes. So on the 24th of April, Shackleton, with 5 other crew members, decides to leave to try to get to South Georgia, back to the whaling station in Stromness. Now on board, the crew of 6 there was 3 Irishmen: Shackleton himself, Tom Crean from Kerry, and Tim McCarthy from Youghal in County Cork. This was an epic journey of 17 days. They crossed the wildest sea in the world. The Southern Ocean is called. And during that time, they endured even a hurricane which sank a coaster, a ship nearby. Eventually, on the 8th of May, they see South Georgia. Great excitement. And they land on the 9th of May. Now, they're in the wrong side, in fact, but because of weather conditions, they had no choice. They landed where they could on the southern part of the island, but the whaling station is right across at the other side. So Shackleton now makes the decision that they need to cross over the entirety of South Georgia to the other side, to the whaling station. Never done before. The first people to ever do this was Shackleton and his comrades. So who did he pick? Again, he picked another Irishman, Tom Crean from Mountnascaul in Kerry, and he picked Worsley. He was the captain of this ship. All they had was a 50-foot rope, a pickaxe, and they put nails into their shoes to give them grip. After 36 hours, they stumbled in to the whaling station at Stromness. People are so thrilled to see them. They can't believe the story. They send then a boat around to collect his 3 colleagues at the other side of the island. And after a number of attempts, 3 or 4 attempts, a ship eventually gets back to Elephant Island to rescue the remainder of the crew. The 22 crew were there. Amazingly, Shackleton never lost 1 crew member during that entire epic journey. Shackleton is a heroic figure, actually, right across the world for some years at this stage. Even on his first expedition in the Nimrod back in 1907 to 1909, when he returned from that, the Irish newspapers claimed him as their own, rightfully so. The Dublin Evening Telegraph at that time said South Pole almost reached by an Irishman, and the Dublin Express spoke of the qualities that was his heritage as an Irishman. Now, he was to die young, in fact. After the war in 1921, he's on another expedition to Antarctica. This time he wants to circumnavigate Antarctica. So while they're anchored off the coast of Antarctica in January 1922, he's unwell. The 4th of January he's unwell. And at around midnight on that time, the 4th to 5th of January 1922, he calls his doctor to his room. And the last words he said to him, "You always want me to give up something. What do you want me to give up now?" He died immediately after that of a heart attack. In fact, at his wife's request, he was buried in South Georgia on the 5th of March 1922, and so ended one of the greatest explorers of all time, a great Irishman, Ernest Shackleton, born here at Kilkee in County Kildare. I'm glad to bring you that story, and more from Mike's Hidden Histories next time.